in the serene town of Cavendish, Vermont, where trains chugged along and life moved at its own unhurried pace. There lived a man by the name of Phineas Gage. The year was 1848, a time of steam engines, long coats, and tall tales. Phineas was no ordinary man, a rugged individual. He was the go-to guy for railroad construction. On a clear September morning, Phineas was leading his crew, setting explosives to clear way for a new railway line. As fate would have it, a distraction, a miscalculation, a split second, and there was an unforeseen explosion. With a deafening roar, a tamping iron, heavy and unyielding, shot upwards. It pierced Phineas's cheek, crashed through his brain, and emerged from the top of his skull, landing several feet away. In the deafening aftermath, the workers expected the worst. A man impaled through the brain was surely gone. But to their astonishment, Phineas not only survived the initial injury but stood up, spoke, and walked with assistance to a nearby cart. The town's physician, Dr. Harlow, attended to him, always skeptical of the stories he'd heard. In the days that followed, the tale of Phineas Gage spread like wildfire. While physically he appeared to mend, those close to him began to whisper about the changes they observed. The congenial, responsible foreman they once knew was now impulsive, erratic, and at times, downright unpleasant. Following the incident, as the seasons changed and his scars began to heal, Phineas found himself a changed man. He was no longer the reliable foreman the people of Cavendish knew. Without his former job, Phineas sought new opportunities to make a living. And what better way than to capitalize on his newfound notoriety? Enter the world of curiosities and marvels, the traveling circus. Here, among the bearded ladies and strong men, Phineas Gage showcased the very tamping iron that had pierced his brain. He was a living, breathing marvel, a testament to human resilience. Spectators from near and far paid to witness the man who defied the odds, their gasps audible as they beheld the iron and the scars it had left. But the bright lights and the continuous gaze of curious onlookers began to wear on Phineas. Seeking solace and perhaps a semblance of his former self, he journeyed west to California. There, he took on various jobs, from farm labor to stagecoach driving, in a quest for normalcy. Before the accident, Phineas Gage was the epitome of a responsible foreman. His employers revered him, describing him as the most efficient and capable man in their employ. A natural leader, Gage was methodical, sociable, and well-liked by his peers. In the heart of Cavendish, he was a man who stood firm, with a reputation carved in reliability. In the aftermath, while Gage's physical wounds were healing, those close to him began noticing stark changes in his behavior. The once patient and level-headed man now seemed to have lost his inhibitions. He was prone to fits of rage, became unpredictably irritable, and often used profane language which was uncharacteristic of the man they once knew. His decision-making skills deteriorated. Tasks that he once performed with precision were now met with impatience and impulsiveness. This was no longer the Phineas Gage that Cavendish knew and respected. He was, as Dr. Harlow noted, no longer Gage. To understand what happened to Gage, we must dive into the complexities of the brain, the control center of our being. The tamping iron had damaged a critical part of Gage's brain, the frontal lobe. In neuroscience, the frontal lobe is like the CEO of our brain. It's responsible for a myriad of functions, but crucially, it plays a pivotal role in personality, impulse control, decision-making, and social interactions. With Gage's frontal lobe damaged, his ability to regulate emotions, make reasoned decisions, and control impulses was compromised. This shift in behavior following the injury was one of the earliest and most tangible proofs that the frontal lobe was central to our personality and behavior. Scientists began to explore the brain with renewed vigor, understanding that different regions were responsible for different functions, a concept we might take for granted today but was groundbreaking at the time. Phineas Gage became a cornerstone case study in medical schools and neuroscience departments worldwide. His story is a confluence of tragedy and discovery, emphasizing the fragile interplay between the brain structure and the essence of who we are. In the end, Phineas Gage's story reminds us of the fragile balance that makes us who we are, how the intricate web of neurons and tissues not only powers our movements and thoughts, but shapes our very essence. Phineas's legacy lives on, not just in medical textbooks, but in the annals of human resilience and the undying quest to understand the self.